welcome to Gospel High School and our play, Swedish Rumspringa. As many of you know, the community of Gospel and the high school has a history of incredible hospitality to exchange students through the years. It is impossible to measure the impact these relationships have made on the lives of the exchange students, families, teachers, and American students. Let's see a show of hands. How many people are here who have hosted exchange students? Been friends with one? Taught exchange students? Known one in other ways? How many exchange students or former exchange students are here? And how many regional directors for the exchange program share from Texas are here?
Hi everyone, my name is Yvette Kaufman, and for the last 25 years, I have spent working in the international exchange student industry. Growing up as a young girl in a small town, much like Gossel, my family hosted an exchange student from Panama. Then at 16, similar to a lot of these students here, I was an exchange student to Italy. So for the better part of my life, I've seen firsthand the life-changing and world-changing experience that student exchange provides. Student exchange programs strive to provide opportunities for people of different cultures to come together, learn about other points of view and ways of life. Host communities, schools, and volunteer host families are fundamental to the success of cultural exchange experiences. You, the Gospel community, have championed this positive people-to-people experience by welcoming over 100 high school exchange students into your lives, your classrooms, homes, and your hearts. Today begins International Education Week. It's something that's celebrated nationally, and it is a week to reflect on the worldwide impact student exchange has made. I cannot think of a better way to celebrate International Education Week than to experience the life-changing exchange of cultures through the eyes of Swede. Thank you, Gossel High School and Gossel community, all of the host parents, for everything that you've done, really embodying the ideal American high school. Thank you.
So, this is a story of a Swedish exchange student, the small town high school he attended, and an Amish grandpa. Some of you know parts of the story. You know it because you've lived it, and it is true. Or you know it because there is truth here, whether or not you've experienced it exactly as told in our story. And now, let's see how those first few days and months go for our young man from Sweden, named Henrik, otherwise known as Swede.
Let's take attendance. Claire?
Yes.
Tristan?
Caffeinated.
Lucas?
Physically, maybe not mentally.
Sophie? No Sophie? All right.
Actually, you have to give it English. Okay, sorry. I couldn't find the room. Is this the American history class?
Yes, it is. And you're Sophie, right?
Yes.
All right, she is here. Maddie? Present and ready to learn. Henrik? Another empty desk. All right, he's not here. Either? Another empty desk. Is anyone? Very funny. All right. Guess that's something.
Nobody, oh my god, I'm not in Spain anymore. I'm so sorry, I didn't open my locker.
That's all right. So everyone is here except for Henrik. All right, I guess we'll get started. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first day of class together. So, hello, and you're Henrik, right?
That's me.
Where were you?
I was in the restroom.
Why didn't you do that before class?
Well, I was doing it before class. I just didn't have enough time to do what I needed to do.
All right, spare me the details. Anyways, back to where we were. Welcome to the first day of American history.
So since it's the first day, I have a little activity to do. So could everybody take out some writing utensils and I'll hand out some papers. And what I'd like you to do is write down everything you've heard about me from other students. If you haven't heard anything from exchange students, if you haven't heard anything yet, that's all right. But if you have, please write it down. I'd like to hear from you guys too.
Are you guys gonna tell the truth?
We could make some stuff up.
We better say nice things.
Yeah, I need a good grade in this class.
I've heard she's a really hard teacher.
That's fun too.
Well, let's write something down.
What kind of teacher is this?
Not so sharp, eh?
Very funny. Now go back to your seat. Here, I will take the marker instead.
I have no idea. Strange?
Strange? Yes, well, I'm going to write that down.
All right, once everybody's ready, you can turn it in at the box. Thank you. What is with you guys unfolding? Just makes my job harder. Right. All right, let's read them. Goofy, exciting, fun activities, fun, boring, strict, weird, learned a lot, mean, strange, out of touch with teens. Ah, my favorite, should retire. Could be more creative though. And that's it. So now that I know what you guys have heard about me, you want to know what I've heard about you?
Yes. I know what people think.
I don't care what they think.
Well, this should be interesting.
Well, what I've heard about your class is that you guys have a reputation of being lazy. You have some troublemakers, not the brightest kids we've seen in these hallways. A few good eggs, and one's mostly a dirty dozen. And if I give you guys an inch of leeway, I think I'll regret it.
I told you it would be true.
Who are they talking about? Troublemakers?
And you guys will be my class for my great American high school experience.
They must have not asked a good cross-section of the student body.
Did this come from teachers or from other students?
Ridiculous.
All right. Let's make a deal. If I disregard what I've heard about you guys disregard what you've heard about me. We all start off with a clean slate. Does that seem fair? Henrik, what do you think?
Honestly, you don't want to know what I think.
All right. Anyone else?
Whatever.
What does this have to do with anything we're actually supposed to be learning?
Well, true confession. I haven't heard most of the things that I heard said about you. Emphasis on most. And I added a few things to what you guys said you've heard about me, if you would have noticed.
Yes, it was very violent.
Yeah, that was kind of the point. Thank you for being observant. But back to the point. How often do we hear things and instantly believe them without checking for facts or learning from our own experience? Whether it's the gossip in the hallways or the news on TV or social media. How often do we actually check for truth and accuracy? I hope that this year we learn not to make assumptions and prejudge people from what we've heard about them, and that we make wise decisions about how the world around us works. Speaking of assumptions, exchange students, what are some assumptions you made about American students?
That they only ate fast food?
Only fast food. Sophie?
Some Americans think that the US is the only country in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy that people still think that. Henrik?
You guys have weird music.
Same could be said about yours. It's all about the perspective. and American students. What are some assumptions you made of the exchange students?
That they all spoke more than one language.
That the Swedish absolutely love meatballs.
I see. And Henrik, is that true?
No, it's not. I'm a vegan.
Well, I guess that doesn't speak for the entirety of Sweden now, does it? Thank you all for your participation today. I think we're going to have a great year together. So, what do you think about that first class?
This is how the year's gonna be? It's gonna be a long one.
Good morning, Henrik. I'm sorry to wake you at 10 o'clock in the morning, but Dottie and Grandma are coming over for brunch. They are eager to meet you.
It is fun.
Dottie is a Pennsylvania Dutch word for grandpa. I think you'll really like him. And grandma too. He's a lot of fun, and she's the sweetest grandma ever.
It'll be good to meet them.
Whoa. Vi kom till Grasshopper.
Think back and help. He pitched the gap. Surfa and build a haven.
Schwätzer dich sauber, Frau.
Dottie just offered to help grandma out of the buggy, and she declined. But she said they're getting too old to have a frisky horse. And Dottie just laughed and said, "Speak for yourself, woman."
How nice of you to have us over, Sky. I know this is brunch, but I brought a pie. I hope you don't mind.
Mind, grandma, you know we love your pies, and I'm sure Henrik will too, once he's tried a piece. What kind did you bring?
Peanut butter.
Yay, my favorite.
Hello, I'm Jonas Montrager, or Daddy to these young people.
I'm Henrik Svensson.
Welcome to Kansas.
It's so good to meet you. Finally, Sky, you both gave us a great grandson.
We did it the easy way. You don't have to change the diapers on this one.
That's a good thing. Those would be some big diapers.
Okay, everyone, let's eat. Henrik, we hold hands while we thank God for our meal. Let's pray. God, we thank you for bringing Henrik into our lives and for this meal that we can share together. May you bless this food so we can become vessels of your love in this world. Amen.
Amen.
These are freshly baked muffins baked this morning by Sky.
So, Henrik, what do you normally have for breakfast in Sweden?
Nothing. I'm usually not up for breakfast.
Oh, okay. So, those who are up for breakfast, what would they have?
Fresh bread from the bakery, cheese, tomatoes, Those long green things.
Long green things? Cucumbers? Squash? Green beans?
Cucumbers, I guess.
Sounds good and healthy.
Well, Henrik, is it hot like this in Sweden?
No, it's not. I have a phone call scheduled in a few minutes. May I be excused?
Phone call? What time is it in Sweden?
4:30 in the afternoon.
Yes, you may be excused, but come back for some pie.
Pappa?
Här har vi igen. Du ska stanna kvar i Amerika. Och det är det. Vi ska inte prata mer om det. Du stannar kvar där. Och du får lyssna på dina gästföräldrar där. Och på dina lärare. Så skärp dig.
Henrik talked to his father that afternoon. He told his dad he didn't like Kansas, and he gave lots of reasons why. Then his father explained that if Henrik wanted life to be the same as it was in Sweden, he should have never left his home country. Of course it was going to be different. His dad told Henrik it'd be hard in the beginning, but he needed to face it and figure out how to make it work. He assured Henrik that he would make this the best year of his life. Focus on the positive, his dad said. You can do this, Henrik.
Hey, young man. Hello there. What should I call you?
Old man is fine. Or Dottie. Or Jonas. Doesn't matter to me.
Wouldn't it be disrespectful to call you old man?
Son, I would be honored for you to call me old man.
Okay, old man. What am I doing here?
Well, you see, I am working on a horse harness for my great-grandson. He has a wedding coming up, and I thought I would give it to him as a gift. Would you like to help me?
Sure. You don't have very good service here.
Oh, we have plenty good service here.
My phone says there's no service.
Trust me, we have service. If you hold this and help me, there will be service. Here, I'll show you how. Take this rag, dip it in the oil, and then apply to the harness. Like that. Not rocket science. Not bad for a starter. So, Henrik, do you miss drinking beer?
Huh?
Are you hard of hearing or something? I said, do you miss drinking beer in Sweden?
What would you know about drinking beer in Sweden?
Come on now, Henrik. I'm an old man, and old men know things.
But what would you know about drinking beer?
Well, I do remember being a teenager, and when I did my Rumspringa, I drank lots of beer.
How much teens drink beer?
Yes, we do.
Are there Amish Amish teens around here?
Well, I do believe there are. Why do you ask?
Oh, well, when I came here, they told us to make friends. Wouldn't that be a good place to start?
Well, they gave you good advice on making friends, but might I suggest making friends with people in your school and not with the Amish?
I was half kidding about the Amish.
Oh, I know. So, call me nosy old man, but did you leave a girlfriend in Sweden?
You nosy old man. Yes, I did. We broke up before I left. I wanted to be free to date the American girls.
Smart man. They gave you good advice. Date around. Don't get hung up over the one girl. You see, Henrik, when I was a young boy, and I was doing my Rumspringa as a teenager, I didn't only date Amish girls, but the English girls too. I would take the English girls for rides in my horse and buggy, and in turn, they would give us rides in their automobiles. But the problem was, English girls, they have curfews. And so, when the English girls went home, I would go back and date the Amish girls. And well, I met a very beautiful Amish girl, and she became my wife. And I love her as much today as I did the day we were first married.
So, sweet, beautiful Amish girls, eh? You don't think I...
Don't even think about it.
Oh, come on, old man. Shouldn't that be part of my great American experience? Taking out an Amish girl? Come on, tell me a pickup line for me to say to the girls in, what's it, Pennsylvania Dutch.
Pickup line?
Yeah. I'm sorry, did I offend you?
No. Here's your pickup line. Repeat after me. Ik really played the call. Ik really played the call.
Ik really play that call.
Ik really played the call.
Really play that call.
Good enough.
But, what does it mean?
Well, the girls will know.
Well, of course the girls will know, but I won't.
Come on, Heinrich. Don't you trust me? I'm an old man. Would I tell you something that would get you into trouble?
I suppose not. But earlier you said there was service. And there isn't.
Oh yeah, I told you. There was service. Not talking about phone. You helping me with this harness. That's service.
So, no Wi-Fi?
That's Wi-Fi.
Never mind.
Well, I think we've done enough working on this harness for today. But it'd be nice if you come and help an old man out just one more time.
Okay, sure.
Do you need a ride home?
Yes, please.
Okay. Tell you what, you can help me hitch up the horse and buggy.
Sure, old man.
Good morning, everyone. Attendance. Claire,
Here.
Tristan,
Here,
Luke.
physically and mentally.
That's new. Sophie,
Yes.
Maddie. Still present and still ready to learn. Henrik. No, Henrik, again. And Ada. Well, looks like we have everyone, except for Henrik. All right. Good morning, everyone. How was everyone's weekend? Hello, Henrik.
Oh, hi there.
And where were you?
I was right here. You must not have seen me.
Oh, really? I don't think I'm blind.
Maybe.
Very funny. Now, where were you?
Well, I was right here, and now I'm here.
This isn't a game. Tell me where you were.
I'm sorry, I was back home. I forgot my homework.
Okay. For what class?
For this class, see, I left it at home and I had to go get it because I needed it for today.
I see. Continue.
Okay, so, you know, jet lag is really bad, right? So I overslept.
I see. And why did you have jet lag?
I was shipping postcards over the weekend, and I sent the wrong paper back home to my dad. It was my homework, not the postcard. I had to go get it, and then I had to come back, and last night I got to very late, 8-hour flight, I overslept, I'm sorry.
We didn't have homework in this class, Henrik.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
I went back to Sweden to get my homework. There is homework.
Oh, sure. And how would you like a detention for being late and lying?
How about it, Tardy?
How about a detention?
Fine.
All right. Anyways, back to what I was saying. How was everyone's weekend? Anyone want to share anything?
I hear that Swede had a fun time.
Want to tell us about it, Henrik?
Aside from going back to Sweden, I went and I worked on a horse harness with my host mom's granddaughter.
That's as fun as it gets here in Kansas.
You need to come with me right now.
Why? What did I do?
You know what you did.
No, I don't. I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, yes, you do. Now get up out of that chair and come with me.
You need to tell me what I did before I leave this room with you.
And you need to come with me right now because I'm not discussing this in front of the whole class. Now follow me.
Miss Carter, this is so ridiculous. I didn't
I'll
do
go
it.
check on. I'll deal with that.
What's going on?
I don't know, I've never seen Miss Sawyer so angry.
You Americans are crazy.
This will make a great story to tell my parents back at home.
What do they do in the principal's office?
They cut off your fingers.
Like, just... How many is she going to lose? This isn't good.
I'm so sorry that this happened and that you all had to witness this. This is very unfortunate. But since you're all here, I'm going to have you all write what you saw and heard down, because we may need them for legal proceedings. Yes, Henrik, this is a serious situation.
I know. How many fingers is she going to lose?
Don't worry about it. Please recall everything that you can.
Henrik has been in Kansas for less than a month.
There is so much that is completely different from what he is used to in Sweden. It's really hard. He's getting used to hearing and speaking English, and that can be exhausting. The food isn't as healthy as what he is accustomed to eating. School lasts all day, And then sports are after school, and the sports are in a terrible heat. Bo and Sky are great people, but they aren't his parents. He misses his friends. He misses his home. He misses his normal school.
All right, everyone. Whenever you're ready, turn it in at the box. All right, now that I've had everybody write what they saw and heard down, I have a confession to make. Sophie, you can come back in now. That was all set up.
I knew it!
Really?
This was set up to make a point. But before we get into that, what did you guys see? Aiden, what did you see?
Mrs. Sawyer came running in here and pointed at Sophie, started yelling at her. She argued back, they ran out, and you followed her.
Anyone else want to add to that?
I think Sophie was almost crying.
No, she wasn't. She was mad.
Well, either way, Mrs. Sawyer shouldn't have called Sophie a bad girl.
She did not.
Why did Miss Sawyer have a pair of scissors?
What? I didn't see a scissors.
Did anyone else see the scissors?
I saw the scissors.
Well, back to what I was saying. How does this scenario connect to how we read history? Yes, Maddie? Well, we have to be aware of who's recording the historical stories. Whose perspective are we getting? Speaking of perspectives, exchange students, let's hear from you. What are a few perspectives on one historical event?
We could look at World War II because that's the historical event. And Germany was the center, of course, and in our history books we learned a lot of America's point of view because we obviously won the war, and I think it applies the winner writes history, so we get America's point of view, but not so much Germany's or Spain's, so that would be interesting.
Yes, one does write history, and I think it would be good to get other perspectives as well. Ada?
Well, Spain was not in that war because we were in a civil war at the time because there was a dictator there, so it was actually friends with Hitler. So I'm sure there are a lot of different perspectives in Spain about what happened in the Second World War.
Yes, even the ones who aren't connected still have some way in that war. And Henrik? Saved by the bell, I guess. Thank you all for participating today. Exchange students, could you stay behind for a minute? All right. I know that this class period was very different than most class periods, and I know my teaching style is also quite different, but I hope you guys can hang in there with me. I think we'll learn a lot from each other this year. You're free to go.
Different. Oh yeah, it's different.
I don't think we're in Europe anymore.
So sweet. Today in class, you said that things were very different. What exactly did you mean?
Well, I'd say that back in Sweden, school is more simple. It's easier to understand what the teacher's trying to tell you.
Yeah, I agree. In Germany, school is way more serious. And we don't spend so much time in school.
I know. The other day I left home at 7:15 and I didn't get home until 8:30 in the evening. If you do sports, you're gone all the time.
Yeah, and it's not just the teenagers that are so busy. The parents are too. Like in Germany, my parents come home from work and then we eat supper together. We don't go out to fast food restaurants like you do here. I miss German bread and real cheese.
Yeah, me too. I feel I'm getting fatter every time I eat.
If you have so much free time back home, what do?
Hang out with friends?
And we have public transportation, so we can go to places.
Is it true that you can legally party at the age of 16?
Yes.
Kinda.
Technically, no. Legal age is 18, but we don't pay much attention to that. And of course, I don't miss it at all because I'm having a great American experience here.
I like the weather here. I feel like it's more sunnier. And the people, they are more open-minded and friendlier.
Really? I think Americans are more shy than Spanish people.
It's interesting that you two have different opinions on Americans.
Perspective. This is a perfect example. Remember today in class? It was all about perspective. And now we have two different perspectives of Americans. We have Sophie, who's used to German culture, which is more matter-of-fact and close-off. And Adair, who's used to Spanish culture, which is more free-spirited and outgoing. So, based on what they're used to, their perspective, they have different impressions of the Americans they have met.
You are so smart.
I just pay attention in class.
I want you to know about the Autobahn in Germany.
We pronounce it Autobahn, but it's not a special road. It's like an interstate, and we can drive as fast as we want, so we don't have a speed limit.
So it's not a special road.
No.
Well, I still want to go there and drive on it.
Americans have such big cars and trucks. I noticed that right away.
The bigger and the louder, the better.
How many languages do each of you speak?
German, English, and a little bit French and Spanish.
I've known English, Spanish, and Basque since I was small, and I learned a bit of French in school.
English, Swedish, French, Latin, and some Pennsylvania Dutch.
Now he's the smarty pants.
Smarty pants.
It's just an expression.
An expression. Really play d'accord. Really play d'accord. You know. No.
know, Henrik, you know why we're oiling this leather? You see, it's become hard and brittle. But we need to oil it to keep it supple and strong. Without the oil, it gets left out to the forces of nature. And it becomes hard and brittle, like this harness. Careful, it might break into that. Oh, yes, my beard. My wife, she does love to run her fingers through it. So, Henrik, how are things going for you these days?
It's better. Glad it's not so hot anymore.
Yes, September is a really nice month here. It's not too hot and not too cold, just right.
So,
How's the school?
it's better. I'm making friends, and that helps.
Yes, that's a good thing. You're going to need friends here if you want to make it through the year. You know, I can't imagine what it's really like to be in high school, because I never went myself.
Why didn't you go to high school?
Well, the Amish, we don't believe in schooling beyond the 8th grade. Why? It's a part of our religious tradition. You see, high school, we believe it gives kids too much of an influence. And we don't think that high school kids need that. So, then we get to 8th grade, we graduate, and get jobs. Now that I think of it, children, they are much like leather. If you teach them the way God wants you to, and treat them well, they grow up to be supple and strong. But if you leave them out to the forces of the world, they can become hard and brittle, much like this harness.
Where does drinking fit into all of that?
Well, Henrik, honestly, when you're my age, it doesn't. But it's hard for me to go and tell teenagers to not do the things that I did when I was a teenager. And well, some of those things I did make for some great stories, even to this day.
Oh yeah? Like what?
Well, there was this one time when me and my boys, we took our horse and buggies and we spun donuts on the greens. And if the horses left a deposit, that was even better.
Did you get caught?
We didn't that time, but there was this one time where, once again, we took our horses and buggies, but we went into a roundabout, and we packed it so full that nobody could get in or out. And all we did was keep on circling and circling until the cops came. But you see, the thing about being Amish is, we don't carry any ID on us, so how could they know who we were? When they asked, we all said the same name. Levi Yoder. Levi Yoder. Levi Yoder. And then, well, if they did try and arrest us, what were they gonna do with a bunch of horses and buggies? And one last good thing about being Amish is that your horse knows the way home if you forget your own way home.
Now what do you mean by that, you drunk old man?
Well, let's just say sometimes I didn't remember my way home.
You know, it would be quite different if I were put into a family with an Amish teenage boy.
Yes, it would be quite different for sure. But what would your exchange program coordinator say if you were to get involved with parties and drinking?
It wouldn't be good, that's for sure. I'd probably get sent home.
And, well, you wouldn't want that, would you?
When I first came here, I was ready to go back, but no. Now, I like it here. Making friends, it helps.
Maybe you are starting to get a little oil on your harness.
Maybe.
Well, Henrik and Maddie, here we are. Indigenous Peoples Day, and you chose to be here. I really have to say, I do appreciate the school districts giving us this opportunity. This day has been known as Columbus Day in the past, and it's been a day off for students. But this year, we decided to offer extra credit to the students who wanted to come and learn more about Indigenous people, and I'm glad you both came. But it also makes me curious. Why did you come? I mean, Maddie, you obviously don't need the extra credit. And Henrik, you just don't seem like the type of guy who would come in when he doesn't have to.
I've just been intrigued with Indians ever since I was a little girl. I just wanted to learn more.
And tell me, Maddie, how many of these authors were Indigenous people?
Probably none of them.
We'll get back to that. And Henrik, why are you here?
Oh, the extra points. Yeah. I need the extra points.
I see. And these extra points may or may not be put into my grade book, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, here's your assignment. Henrik, you will put yourself in the boots of a man who was on one of the early ships to land on the east coast of what later became the United States. Maddie, you will be walking in the moccasins of an Indigenous woman who has been in contact with these foreigners. It has been a year since that first meeting. What have each of you observed about the other? Talk about the culture, speech, knowledge of how to survive, social skills, how they relate to others in their community, etc. Prepare a dialogue between the two of you where you will share those first-year impressions with each other. Good luck.
What happens when people from two cultures intersect? For that matter, what happens when people from two different worldviews interact with each other? The most important factor is the attitude they bring to the encounter. Are there feelings and actions of superiority? Is there an attitude of humility in learning? Is there an assumption that one culture is better than the other? Does one party think they have the right answers and the other party is wrong? Is there curiosity without judgment? Is there space for both to be valued equally? These questions are as old as humanity itself. Sometimes it seems we haven't made progress as a civilization, and sometimes it seems we haven't learned anything at all.
All right, let's hear what you came up with. Well, first of all, we know that we wouldn't be speaking the same language, but for our presentation and these purposes, we will.
And secondly, Mrs. Tyler, we can't do the assignment.
We can't do the assignment because in the short time we had to prepare, we could find materials of what Europeans thought of indigenous people, but we couldn't find materials on what the indigenous people thought of the Europeans. So, without a lot more time to prepare, we really can't say what their impressions were of each other. We can make assumptions, but that's what they would be. Assumptions. And you know what assumptions do, right? Right.
Unfortunately, there are many assumptions made in our history books today, and there are many assumptions about the cultures and worldviews. And many of them are wrong. Assumptions get people in trouble.
I did, however, find something on the internet about this. But here, you should read it because you didn't do any of the work.
It's a sign posted by the Department of Anti-Colonial History. It says, when Europe showed up in North America, indigenous people were not nomads, not few, not savage, not impoverished, not recent immigrants, and were not looking for salvation. Yes, indigenous people had commerce, travel, economics, permanency, stewardship, inheritance, artistry, drama, ceremony, politics, justice, penance, peacekeeping, and still do. This article, which addresses many of the assumptions that were made by the Europeans, by the Europeans about the indigenous people. We can only speculate because it does not go on to say what the indigenous people thought of the Europeans.
Our suggestion is that you make this assignment to the whole class and give us all more time to do our research.
Thank you for the suggestion. I might just do that. And thank you for both coming in today.
So, do I get the extra points?
Of course you do.
that working? Okay, good.
time will fly. Swede didn't believe it at first, but then it started to happen. He set a work routine. He went out for basketball. He wasn't good, but he went out. And because he was a senior, he got to sit on the varsity bench. And when the team went to state, Swede was right there. And then in a buzzer beater game that will live on in the history of the high school, the boys' team won state. Swede was on the bench. No, not on the bench, jumping and cheering as much as anyone. And he got a state basketball championship medal. They say the time will fly, especially after Christmas. And it did. Before he knew it, kids were talking about prom and who was taking who. Henrik asked Maddie, and she was more than happy to say yes. And then there was talk of an after-prom party.
The thing about prom, Swede, is you have to have a good-looking girl, money for the meal, a tux, and a cruel way to arrive.
Well, I've got the girl.
I can help you print a tuxedo that matches my dress. And we need to get flowers, too.
Money for the meal? No problem. What was the last thing?
A good, cool way to arrive.
You know what would be so cool? A horse and buggy.
I bet Dottie would take us.
Oh, I bet he would.
He does owe me for when I helped him oil that horse cars.
You gotta ask him, please.
I will.
While you're talking to the Amish, see if you can get them to host an after-prom party in their pasture. Those kids party there all the time. Just tell them we'll have a few guests on April 11th.
I have met some of Dottie's great-grandkids. I'll see what I can do.
You're the man, Swede. You make it happen.
We'll have to be quiet about this. If my exchange program coordinator finds out, I'd be in serious trouble, so.
Just a few of us. No one's talking.
Good. Good. Okay, let's do it.
You know, Swede, your Amish connections really rocked this evening. First, that old man bringing you in his horse and buggy. Now, look at this.
Oh, it's been a long time.
How long?
Since the day before I got on that plane, back in August.
Too long. So, why are you wearing your pilgrim clothes? Pilgrim clothes? Yeah. Well, we don't wear our Amish clothes as soon as we get away from home. It's Rumspringa. We let our hair down.
Hey. Echt really good, d'accord? What did I say?
We'll never tell.
Has anyone seen Miss Tyler?
But, I think if, the teacher is 10 minutes late, I think we get to go home.
I agree with Tristan.
I hope that doesn't happen. I just want to learn something.
Don't worry, I'm on time today.
And sleepy.
Yes, late night.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry I was a bit late. I was talking to the principal about something. Anyway, how was everybody's weekend? Did anyone have anything interesting happen? Nobody? Sweet?
It was a completely normal weekend.
I see. Anyone else?
No, normal weekend.
All right. Then let's move on to the lesson. Today we will explore different types of governance and how decisions are made by those types of governance. We will use a hypothetical situation. I will explain the situation, and we will talk about how we feel the decision should be made. All right, here goes. A new high school is being formed, and decisions are being made about the rules that students will be asked to follow. This school knows that it needs to go by state laws related to drugs and alcohol, etc. But it is also interested in exploring how those laws are enforced. A committee of high school students, teachers, school administrators, school board members, and administration has been formed to talk about this process. Before the committee makes a decision, an interesting thing happens. Several of the students on the committee are involved at a beer party. Now the decision-making process is getting quite personal. Who should decide the consequences? The possibilities include bringing it before the whole student body's vote. Another option is for each class to send 2 students to the court that will hand down the decision. A third option is that the principal just decides. Who would like to start this discussion?
Did she say here?
Yes, Maddie?
Well, it just wouldn't seem right for the whole student body to vote. The decision could be made based on popularity.
That is true, and that's a true democracy. Each person gets a vote.
I suppose if the principal decided, then, well, if it were his children who were involved, that would affect the decision. Or maybe he didn't like the students who were involved.
Or maybe perhaps he liked the students who were involved.
Or maybe the student could get in some really serious trouble if his exchange program coordinator found out.
That's oddly specific.
Hypothetically speaking, of course. Anyways, if the principal is the only decision maker, that is a dictatorship. Does anyone know what it would be if there were 2 representatives from each class that made the decision?
I'm dead.
Yes, Maddie?
A representative democracy, like the United States.
Exactly. Exactly. So, how do you want the decisions of discipline to be made in this newly formed school? Through a democracy, a dictatorship, or representative democracy?
Well, it would depend on the situation.
We can't change the government for every situation.
Well, a democracy is a vote of popularity, and a dictatorship is not good. So I guess that leaves the representative democracy.
Let's hear from the exchange students. What are your governments like?
Well, Spain is a monarchy, so we have a king. And there's a president that is chosen once in 4 years, but he needs the support of the parliament to make the important decisions.
It's pretty much the same in Germany. We just don't have a king. We have a president or chancellor, and that makes the important decisions with the support of the parliament.
Henrik? As always, saved by the bell. Now you're all free to go. Hypothetically speaking, of course. Come on, bud.
How did she know?
Small town, Swede. Small town.
Well, this is not my all-time favorite thing to do. Meeting with a student and a family when something has gone seriously wrong is just so unfortunate for everyone. But here we are. Sweet, tell me exactly what happened Saturday night.
Well, it was prom night. That means parties. I went out with some friends and the Amish brought the beer. That's about it.
And you knew that if you participated, you could be sent home, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you still did it.
Yep.
Okay. Where did you get the idea to have Amish kids bring the beer?
Well, this guy's grandpa, he was telling me about his Rumspringa and how when he was young he would drink a lot of beer. And, well, one thing led to another, and I thought it would be a good idea to invite the Amish kids. I want to be clear though, this isn't his fault.
He would feel terrible if he thought he was the reason for him being sent home.
And I don't want to be the one to tell you if he goes home with him.
Well, that would probably be up to the person responsible. Right, Henry?
Dottie, that's what we call him. He and I, we were oiling a horse harness, and he was telling me about how I'm getting oil in my harness. And I didn't understand what he meant at the time, but he was making a comparison between children and how they're like leather. How if you leave them out to the forces of the world, they will become hard and brittle, but if you take care of them and nurture them, they will be supple and strong.
That's an interesting analogy, Henry. Did that make sense to you?
At the time, no, but I think he's trying to tell me that I'm growing up, that I'm getting up the courage to do my own things, and I have to take responsibility for my actions. I mean, I was liking the school system here, and I was making friends, and to think I was going to throw it all away for one night.
What decided if he goes on?
I'll talk to my supervisor, and the national office will get involved too. I'll let you know as soon as possible. Henry, is there anything else you want to say?
I'm sorry. I messed up. I don't want to go home. That's it.
This will be a really hard decision to make, but I'll be in touch.
Can't believe it. Henrik might go home early. All because of one stupid party where the Amish kids brought the booze. It was all my fault. My fault. Can't believe it. I should have never told him about Rumspringa. I didn't know it could lead to this. I mean, all I wanted was for him to see that the Amish are regular people, not on some holy pedestal. Because the truth is, we are all in need of God's grace. All of us. And right now, Henrik is especially in need of that grace. But I don't think he will get it. He made a mistake. He's going to get sent home early. I think I'm going to miss that young man. I've really grown to like him since he's first come. I mean, first, he might have had a bit of an attitude, but he's grown up a lot. I just wish you hadn't made this one last big mistake. You see, I believe in choices and consequences. Bad choices can lead to bad consequences. Not always, of course. I mean, I've made my fair share of bad choices in the past, but by the grace of God, I've gotten through them. I mean, look at me now. I'm 80 years old, I've been married for 60, and I have children, grandchildren, and great-grands. Now that I think of it, I truly am a fortunate man. And yet, all because of me, Henry might go home early. Well, I guess it wasn't entirely because of me. He did choose to have the party, and he did choose to participate in drinking. But I planted the idea in his head. It's my fault. This guy did say that the organization was getting involved, so there's not much I can do. But I've got to at least do something. Maybe I can talk to this coordinator. Yes. I think I will. It's the least I can do.
Thank you for having me over again, Sky.
Yes, of course. Thanks for coming.
Is Sweet around?
I'll go get Henry. Down here.
Hi. I have some good news for you, and some other news. It is good or bad, depending on how you look at it.
Do I get to stay?
Yes, definitely.
Yes!
I'm so excited for you. It's hard to say no to an old Amish man with tears in his eyes.
Dottie?
Yes, he called me and asked me to come talk with him. He really likes you, Henry. He wants you to have another trade.
But the organization.
We've talked about it at length. Believe me, nobody has ever had an Amish great-grandpa come to his defense before. Your daddy wants you to have consequences, but he sure wants you to stay.
That's probably the news.
You guessed it. What the organization has decided is that you'll need to prepare a speech for the whole high school student body. A speech about what you have learned this year and how you have grown and changed. It needs to be 5 to 10 minutes long.
I see what you mean, good or bad news.
I look forward to hearing your speech. I know it will be great. So good, in fact, we will use it in the future with other exchange students. Maybe they can learn from you as well.
I doubt that. But thank you. Thank you very much.
You got somebody else to say. I'll get you, right?
Thank you again. Wrote his speech. He presented it to the student body, and when he was done, he was rewarded with a standing ovation. Several weeks later, the senior class asked him to share the speech at their commencement.
I almost wasn't here tonight. I almost wasn't here tonight because I made a mistake, and I should have been sent home early. But I'm still here, largely because of someone who went to bat for me. That and the organization. They decided to let me stay. I met this man within 24 hours of arriving in Kansas back in August. He looked different from anyone I had ever seen. He talked funny, he had a good sense of humor, but I couldn't imagine having anything in common with this old man. Dottie, would you please come join me? This is Jonas Bontrager, otherwise known as Dottie to me and his family. He is my host mom's grandpa. Dottie, within the first week of arriving in Kansas, I found myself on his farm, helping him oil a horse harness.
He had obviously never done anything like that before, and I knew he wasn't thrilled about it at the time. But he talked to me, and we got along okay, even if I did ask him a couple personal questions, like if he left a girlfriend in Sweden.
I didn't really expect this old man to ask me anything about his girlfriends or if I miss drinking beer. And when I asked him to teach me a pickup line to say to the girls in Pennsylvania Dutch, he did, but he didn't tell me what it meant, and still hasn't. Come on, Doug. What does echt jullie twee tapol mean?
I really like your head covering. Huh? Huh? How about that?
I really like your covering. No, that doesn't work. What kind of pickup line is that?
In Amish farm. Hey, it worked for me.
Crazy old man.
You see, some people, they look at us Amish, and they think we're especially holy or something. But the truth is, we are ordinary people with a different lifestyle. We laugh, we cry, we make mistakes. We live our lives in order to honor God each day. Sorry, this is your speech, not mine.
It's fine. You jump in when I get stuck. Okay. Like I said, I shouldn't be here tonight. I should be back home in Sweden. Instead, I'm here, talking about what I have learned in my 10 months in Kansas. I have learned that in a small town, people care about you. They know everything they're doing. It has its pros and cons, but they care about you. I have learned there are things that I have to do myself. I have to get up the courage from inside me to face the problem and to move on. I have also learned that there are things that I need help with, and that sometimes it is harder to go at it alone than to just stop and ask for help. I have learned that admitting my mistakes is much better for everyone than trying to cover them up or deny that I've made them. I have learned to let it go. To let go of preconceptions, let go of judgments of people who are different, because, believe me, people are different here than back in my home city in Sweden. I have learned that there's more than one way to teach a high school social studies class. What I have experienced this year was completely different than anything I had experienced previously. Strange at first. Now, I wouldn't give it for anything. Thank you, Mrs. Tyler. I have learned that a person can have more than one family. I have a family here, and I have a family back home in Sweden. And my hope is that one day they will meet, and that will be totally awesome. I have learned that a person can make lifelong friends from another culture, and that we have a world that is a better place because of that privilege we all have. And you don't have to cross the ocean to make a friend from another culture. I have learned that a leather harness needs oil to keep it supple and strong, and that has something to do with people too. Dottie knows more about this than I do.
Henrik, you don't know this, but the last month has been really hard on me. You see, when I heard you might go home, I felt so bad for you, and I felt bad for all of us here who have grown to really like you. Because you know what, Henrik? We too have learned from you. I have learned that age, culture, and lifestyle don't have to keep people from understanding each other. When you are willing to just spend the time to get to know someone, you learn to respect them, I have learned that the things you say can have far-reaching consequences that you've never even dreamed of. I have learned that we all need to be open to change. And you have done that so well this year. They say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But the thing is, this old dog, he wants to learn the new tricks. Because that's what keeps life interesting. You see, on the outside, Henrik and I, we seem quite different. You are young and full of vim and vigor. I am old and I get tired. You wear those nice clothes and I dress plain. You get your hair cut so it looks good all the time. Me, not so much. You speak Swedish and I speak Pennsylvanian Dutch. And we both know a little English. I drive a horse and buggy, and you will drive an electric car in Sweden. I could go on, but the truth is, here, we are all the same. We need people who care for us. We need to give and to receive love. We need to feel that we are understood. We need to feel wanted. And that's what we can do for each other. And then, you add God's grace. We all need that grace, you know? And well, if you have those things, you will be a person that can leave a positive impact wherever you go.
Thank you, Don. Thank you very much.
Oh, and one more thing. You see, I've been working on this leather, putting your name on it and oiling it to keep it supple and strong. Take this with you and remember the home, the family, the community in Kansas that gave you a year you will never forget.
I'm stuck, Tony. I don't know what to say.
I think we've said enough, my friend.